is the guy right here.
He's good. He's going to have the momentum, and he's going to get to the line.
Coming to the checkers!
It's incredible to think that the winner of a 400-mile race could be decided by a few inches. But how did we get here? Jamie McMurray and Kyle Busch coming to the finish line? This is the story of one of the greatest races in NASCAR history. July 7th, 2007, the Pepsi 400 at Daytona International Speedway. The final race of this generation car on a super speedway. Jeff Gordon and Denny Hamlin make up row number 1, and we are minutes away from the green flag waving. But how can we set the tone for this race? Well, let's ask Kevin James.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops, God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
With that type of a command, we're bound to see some on-track fireworks on this 4th of July weekend.
We're wide open in green.
Your lap, and that's it. And then some of
Oh, we got trouble.
It didn't take long for the fireworks to start, as on lap 4 in turn number 1, we had our first wreck. 2 cars hard into the wall, one being Casey Kane and the other Jeff Green. On lap number 9, the race resumed and Denny Hamlin led the field into turn number 1. Most of the field mellowed out to single file racing, some ventured into 2 and 3 wide racing, but a majority of people wanted to play it safe as it was still very early in the race. Wait, who did I say was leading?
Oh, Hamlin.
Teammates, Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart. Stewart, who was going for his 3rd straight win.
Oh, they're still wrecking. There's Junior.
That's what Kyle talked about.
The fireworks continued as Tony Stewart and teammate Denny Hamlin tangle coming out of turn number 4, causing a 2-car accident that retires both cars to the garage. Alright, now that all the early race jitters are out of the way, let's get some long green flag runs. Wait, what? Another wreck?
Oh, we got into us. It's not too big of a deal out the record.
Bill?
Thanks, Lindsay. Caution on the track. Tony Raines.
With 3 wrecks in less than 25 laps, this race was shaping up to be a crash fest. Luckily though, most of the wrecks were 2 or single car wrecks, meaning that the field was still intact for a lot of good pack racing to take place throughout the race. Finally, with a long green flag run, we finally got to see cars spread out into 2 and even 3 wide racing. A few laps later, the driver from the beginning of the video, Jamie McMurray, was battling for the lead with Clint Boyer, but that was short-lived as a few laps later, Jamie McMurray would pass Jeff Gordon under the yellow line, resulting in a drive-through penalty, almost ending his race before it could even get started. As the race continued on, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was typically known to be the favorite at Daytona, would retire his car to the garage after damage suffered in the crash earlier in the race. On lap number 54, we almost had another incident where Kyle Busch came off of turn number 2 and got loose not once, but twice, nearly hitting the wall and ending his day. And remember, Kyle Busch is the other car that was at the beginning of the video with Jamie McMurray. A few laps later, Kevin Harvick and Juan Pablo Montoya would tangle, leading to a cut tire on the 29, causing a caution. This was a good break for Jamie McMurray because it allowed him to catch back up to the field and allow for him to not go a lap down, which he would have done had it gone green for a few more laps. The middle portion of this race was like a traditional Gen 4 Super Speedway race. There wasn't a massive pack of cars, there were a few packs of cars with a few cars in each of them that were spread out throughout the track. Everybody understood that they needed to save what they had until the last couple laps of the race, so they weren't taking any chances seeing that there were a lot of wrecks already that had happened, so why would they want to join that? A cycle of green flag pit stops had begun, and there were some very close calls on pit road. After this, the field spread out even more, but with the common trend of this race, there would be one thing that would bunch it back up together.
Oh, Marlin.
Sterling Marlin would cut a tire in turn number 4, sending him into the outside wall and collecting Ricky Rudd. The common theme of 1 or 2 car pileups continued throughout this race. The rest of the field came down to top off their fuel and change tires if they hadn't already. And just because we've done it already so much on the track, let's do it in pit road. Yes, there was an accident. And as fate would have it, with 38 laps to go, we now have the two guys from the beginning of the video, Kyle Busch and Jamie McMurray, fighting for the lead at Daytona. Remember, one was almost a lap down from a penalty, and the other almost crashed into the outside wall coming off of turn 2. This was insane that we were still talking about them. But of course, because it's this race, we have to have
Juan Pablo Montoya.
a multi-car crash would collect several cars and set up a sprint to the finish with under 30 laps to go. It was now time for business to pick up. Cars began to fan out 2 and 3 wide throughout the entire pack. This was the most intense the racing had been all night. But because the intensity picked up, you could probably guess what followed after.
Oh, there we go. Gilliland round. Oh, I cannot believe that's a single car accident.
I cannot.
The caution flew with less than 20 laps to go as David Gilliland tried to save a nasty tank slapper. Unfortunately, he spun out, but on the bright side, he didn't hit any walls, and he spun just to the inside harmlessly. Now with 6 laps to go, the intensity picked up to the highest that it had been all race. Jamie McMurray, Jeff Gordon, Casey Mears, Jimmy Johnson, and Kyle Busch all had an opportunity to win this race. But as we know, by the opening of this video, it's only going to come down to 2 cars, and they are currently working together on the outside line. Jamie McMurray makes a daring move in the tri-oval to swing left on Jeff Gordon and pass him for the race lead. Kyle Busch soon follows underneath him, battling side by side into turn number 1. Throughout the final 5 laps of this race, neither Kyle Busch or Jamie McMurray wanted to lose. Both had battled adversity throughout the race. Jamie McMurray was almost put a lap down after a penalty, and Kyle Busch almost spun out and hit the wall. Coming to 2 laps to go, Jamie McMurray got a lead over Kyle Busch from help from Kyle Busch's teammate Jeff Gordon. But on the back straightaway of that same lap, Kyle Busch powered back to the inside, drawing dead even. Coming to the white flag, it seemed like this race was going to come all the way down to the wire. For the rest of this lap, I'm going to let the original broadcast team take us home.
Side by side with Kyle Busch as they come to the white flag.
Look at that. That 5 car is strong, man.
Not only is he strong, I'm telling you, he is 99% that thing too. He's going to be in the gas all the way. I don't care how sideways this thing gets.
Last lap.
And he needs to be, because if they wreck right now, he's got to be the first guy across that loop.
Kyle Busch now has his brother Kurt behind him.
The one thing is Kyle Busch has the inside, and because of where the start-finish line here is, at this place, the inside line is the line if you can maintain it coming out of turn 4.
Will
Oh, man, I'll tell you what.
Will Edwards help his teammate, or will he make a move for the win?
I don't know if he'll be able to make the move for the win.
Kyle Busch is the guy right here. He's your winner.
He's going to have the momentum, and he's going to get to the line.
Coming to the checkers.
Oh! Whoa, it's close. I don't know.
Waiting for scoring.
I think the 26 guy.
So there you have it. I guess a 400-mile race can come down to the final few inches. Jamie McMurray battled back so much adversity that night to come back and beat Kyle Busch by a few inches, one of the closest finishes in NASCAR history. On top of that, this is the final superspeedway race of this generation car. This is how this car will always be remembered at Daytona. A close race with a great finish and a lot of action. This is why the 2007 Pepsi 400 will be remembered as one of the all-time greatest races in NASCAR history.